For a MUT review, and since it's been a few days, we have a lot to go over. We've got new signatures, new rookies, new positional heroes, 2 sets, so we're going to get right into it, not waste your time. We'll cap it off with the TJ Yeldons of the world, but what we're really going to look at is start out with the Damon Harrison. Now, I tweet about these guys when they come out. If you're not seeing the reviews and you have questions about an item, always feel free to tweet me or check my Twitter, because the Damon Harrison is one of the best run-stuffing inside defensive lineman in the game. Overall, his 90 at the start of the year was amazing. This guy's got 99 strength with 100 block shed, plus you still get 95 power move. You know, cost effective, probably not, and he's a little bit slow. He doesn't really have to do anything that he needs to be fast for, but at the same time, for $250, you can get that Steven Paya for, much less of a cost. So I would probably go there, but I do love Damon Harrison's generally. And if you're having trouble stopping the run, you put this guy at D-end, you're going to have success. Mitchell Schwartz is actually a really nice positional hero, 95 strength, 99 pass block. That's pretty dope, mixed in with 94 run block. So, check your prices, but I do like the Mitchell Schwartz, plus his brothers on the Giants. Ronald Darby, we talked about him also on Twitter, but 98 speed. When you consider that he has 96 man, I thought it would be a little bit higher. We really liked his earlier edition that he had. There's a lot of guys in this range, but none of them really have 98 speed. All the corners in the game that have 98 speed are pretty cost prohibitive. So if you need, for 175, I think this guy's pretty good because he does play man and zone pretty well, and he has the speed that you're willing to pay somewhat of a premium for. I wanted to see him, have 97, 98 man with 96 zone, but that speed really does kind of justify it, and he's not in the 80s for press. So this Darby is pretty dope. Now, Shaq Thompson, he probably made the most noise last week, and this Shaq Thompson has 90 zone coverage and 84 man coverage mixed with 93 speed. That puts him at one of the best coverage linebackers in the game almost at any price. So if you can't afford a Derek Brooks, this Shaq Thompson is now your guy, and he's a guy that's been making plays, I've heard on Twitter, quite a bit. Other than that, Mitch Morse, I love a center with 98 strength, and he's pretty balanced at the other two, because 98 strength is going to get you that push. He's going to be going against guys, me, Joe Green, Poe, that have 100 strength, so you want to get as much strength up as you can so you can get a push. We're going to pass on the Parker, and we're going to pass on the Goldman. Then there's final additions that we still have to go over. This Devonta Freeman, I do like this Freeman. Basically, you're looking at 96 speed with 96 elusive. There's a lot of backs in that range, but for $200K, he's pretty solid across the board. He does have 77 route running. You'd like to see a little bit higher if he's truly an every down back, but the freeze was pretty legit. He also has 83 strength, which is a little bit of an underrated stat. So this is a guy I think is worth trying out, and if he can make some plays for you, definitely keep him in the lineup. He has 83 strength and 91 truck, and his elusive's higher, so you're going to naturally break elusive tackles, but then you can truck people, and hopefully he's going to fall forward. He doesn't fight for extra yards with his trait, but maybe that strength means he falls forward. So if he does end up doing that, that makes him valuable, in my opinion. 94 strength with 97 pass block, that's a good right guard right there in Turner. George Aloka was the guy who I was impressed by, because he has 96 zone coverage. That's extremely high at the strong safety position, one of the best in the game. If he could have just got a card earlier in the year. But he's 6'4" and 92 speed. So you can use this guy. His hit power is 89, so he's not going to be forcing a ton of fumbles, but he will be in the conversation to make plays. So I'm a big fan of this Aloka. Can't find that zone coverage elsewhere. Really got to pay a premium for it. Logan Ryan, he's a pass. Tyrod Taylor, I said I liked on Twitter, and I do just because the earlier Tyrod Taylor was pretty good. This one has 93 speed. Obviously, there's so many quarterbacks out there that you can always find a better deal with the Manziels of the world, with the Mariotas. But I still think 93 speed of quarterback's good if you really want to run with a quarterback, and this guy's price is going to be, 13,000 coins. Makes him pretty available to make some plays and run around like a goofball. Lastly, Telvin Smith was the other guy that I loved. Right outside linebacker with 92 speed, 98 acceleration. So for user control, 98 acceleration is about as good as it gets. at that position. Plus, he has 89 zone if you leave him out there on his own. You're not going to want to rush the passer with him. Just keep him there. He's got 92 hit power. He's a little shorter than a guy like the user, but that excel means he's in the conversation to make some plays. So that Telvin Smith just thrown in there for an inexpensive cost means that he's worth checking out. The last campus heroes that came out were also I was excited about because I heard a lot about this Clowney before he came out, but we'll start with Ryan Clady. We're going to pass. We'll start with Fairley. We're also going to pass on this Nick Fairley. Kadeem Carey, and I don't think Nick Fairley got enough items during the year to kind of bump up his stuff. We're going to pass on Kadeem Carey at this point. Even though he's a truck back with pretty solid speed, he doesn't break the mold of those backs by having great agility. So we'll hold off on him. Jerry Hughes, I always loved Jerry Hughes in Madden. But for Jerry Hughes to be an end and have 93 excel, it hurts him. I know he has 99 finesse moves, so if you really like finesse move rushers, he can be the guy. But with 93 excel, that's a rating, in my opinion, he should have more of. And like I said, they're really being protective of this excel rating later in the season. You see, he's building it up from his 91, so he didn't really get an item during the season either. So this is like his next. This Jerry Hughes, it's only his second edition basically, so it means it's not that great with the way the curve goes during the season. Next up, we have Jeremy Macklin, 95 speed, 99 route running, only 86 release. But at this point in the season, Macklin's another guy where his route running was so good at the beginning of the season. Him, Deshaun Jackson. If they could have got a couple items during the season, Macklin got a few, but, the Amari Cooper, 96, 93 is not great for downfield 101. He's only 6 feet. He's basically a route runner with 95 speed. And so if you have a specific role that you need this guy for, you can get it, but you can't pay 141 stacks for that Jeremy Macklin. I'm sorry. Johnny Manziel gets an item with 94 speed, 94 throw deep. Wow, this card's amazing, except for play action. This Manziel is really good. You cannot pay 1,000,000 coins. I'm sorry, you cannot pay 1,000,000 coins. But if he ever comes down to a more reasonable price, he can kind of do it all. I'm a 98 throw power guy at this point in the year, but I don't run a ton of play action. Medium's the one I want to see. I don't mind if they skimp out on medium, as long as it is up above 90. I prefer the deep, just because it's painful to miss a deep throw. So shout out to the Manziel, but can't pay that cost. And then lastly, Jadeveon Clowney, who we love the freeze Clowney and the road to the playoffs Clowney as a user because of his height, because of his hit power. This guy gets 102 hit power with 99 power move. So he's going to be a pass rusher, but when you user him, you're not going to rush the passer. So this guy, even though he has all the user stats, he's matching up that Telvin Smith 98 excel we talked about earlier with 94 speed. He can basically play on every down basis because he has 90 strength and 93 block shed. He's an end. I mean, there's not much missing. He's a rusher through and through. I think you don't want to use him because you don't want to then lose out on some of this power move. And you can't pay 2.5 million coins. Unless he's really getting extra hits with this, because the Chancellor really does get you more fumbles with the hit power. So if this Clowney gets you more, then you can use him. If not, I think you just let this guy rush the passer. And this is only obviously premium player, because only if you can afford it. But wow, I mean, this Clowney does have the stats to back up the bark. He's got 99 power move with 87 finesse. So he's going to be able to rush both ways. Man, that's a crazy item. But you can't pay legendary price for that, even though he's a campus legend. Just, that's still too much. You can get a lot more, in my opinion. Next up, we're going to the homepage. We're going through this content here. We're going to look at the rookies. We're going to talk a little bit about golden tickets. And then we have signatures. So last week's Legends, we had Zach Thomas, his boss edition. It's not the fastest. It doesn't match up with that Ray Lewis, but it does have the strength in the block shed that only the Ray Lewis has. He's got 87 zone coverage in the middle. He's going to be a pretty good middle linebacker for you. I'm going to consider him to stuff the run, but 94 strength, 96 block shed. If it came down to him or the Michael Kendricks, I'm still thinking I would take the Kendricks slightly over. So 87 zone is pretty decent in the middle, and he can play the run. So he does have a big advantage against the Ray Lewis in that regard, because Ray Lewis, I think, is coming in at 72 or so zone, or 78 zone at the max. So I like Zach Thomas as an every down player, but for $1 million, I'm going to pass. I think you can do slightly better there. Next up is your Orlando Pace lineman. You need them for your team, but they don't sell season tickets, unfortunately. So we're going to go back here and take a look at this Orlando Pace, his bust. Let's see real quick, though, if Zach Thomas, his Ultimate Edition, still has 99 play rec, still has 96 hit power in the middle, but his zone drops down to 84, which becomes a little bit unremarkable. So unless you're really saving big coin, probably not worth it. His Rookie Edition's no good. His Speed Edition is a 94 speed middle linebacker with 87 zone. That's decent, but he's not going to be good in the run game. And then his Strength Edition is 72 speed, and even though he's going to stuff the run really well, I don't think you can go there. Next up is the Pace, 97 strength with 99 pass block. I'm sure that matches up, right up there with the Anthony Munoz, who I have on screen right here. 97 strength with 99 pass block. So he gives you one more run block than the Munoz, so you can't really pay extra, even though you get 5 more impact block. So that's up to you. That's a cost thing. Next up are the signatures, and we'll start at the bottom with Tamba. Tamba, for the cheap cost, I don't hate. I think he's got really good strength, 99 power move, and really good block shed. He might be like a cheap edge game defender who can play all 3 downs because he's really strong. Still has pretty good excel, which might make that speed feel a little bit quicker. He's a guy I've liked, a good chunk of the season, so I think you should consider him for your team if you're in a little bit of a lower cost range. Felton's a fullback. I think you still go with the Poe. Lamar Miller, I like. We were talking about a back earlier in the show, the Devonta Freeman. And if this Miller is kind of the same cost, you get a little less excel, and you might not have the strength in the truck, but some of the elusives right around there. I know people really like Lamar Miller at the start of the year. So if this guy plays as well as his other item, I think he's pretty much on par with the price you're going to pay. Emmanuel Sanders, similar to that Macklin, 1 speed faster. I think this Sanders is much better than that Macklin that's out there. But, you got to find the exact role for this guy because he doesn't have the release to play outside. In that 98, 95 spec and catching traffic, you're seeing that all over the place, so it's really whatever's the differentiator. I love 96 route running and 96 speed. This guy could be really good on corner routes. TJ Lang right here. We're going to pass on him. Josh Norman. Now, guys, the signature items to me, what I found with them is they put a lot of good zone coverage players mixed in. We already talked about Aloka, but just in signatures, there's a lot of good zone players we're going to talk to. So remember Josh Norman. He got a lot of items early, and then he sort of stopped getting some items since Christmas. So this item keeps him going and finally gets him up to 99 zone with 99, 95 man. Good press, good play rec, and the speed to match. And 70 strength is good too, and he's got 88 spec. So I love this Norman. His cost is prohibitive though. You can't. I'm sorry, can't pay $625 for Norman. You gotta wait for him to come down in price. He's one of the better corners in the game, but maybe 400. But I'd like to see him down at the 3s before you really go all in on him. Calais Campbell. We've never really liked any Calais Campbell's items this year. He's a finesse move rusher. He's finally at this stage got decent strength and block shed, but you can still find that way, way, way cheaper. And he's only got 88 excel mixed with the finesse. So poor Calais Campbell never stood a chance at the start of the year. And we're passing. Jason Witten with 86 speed. Even though he has 99 catching traffic, we're going to pass. Doesn't have the route running, doesn't have the run block. It's basically just a catching traffic guy, and can't go with Witten. Gibson's another guy. He's a free safety with 97 zone coverage, so that's one of the highest in the game at free safety. All the safeties, remember, it took Earl Thomas to break 96, or to finally get 96 at the safety position when all these corners were coming out with 98, 99. You still can't afford the Gibson, though. But for $200K, he's pretty good. If you compare him to Glover Quinn, that's really the cost breakdown you're going to do. You're going to come to Muthead, you're going to click the compare, you're going to compare him to Glover Quinn, and really see if he is indeed worth the extra coin. Because I know there's a more expensive Quinn out there. I think you give this guy a shot if you really want some zone coverage and you went in on these. He's not a bad guy to get for your squad, because neither of those guys are going to really have great hit power. The D'Angelo Hall's another guy they gave 99 zone coverage to. He has 97 speed, so he's faster than Norman. He costs less. Obviously, the strength's not there. The play rec's not there. The press isn't fully there. But the spec's still there, and I don't really care about press in zone coverage. So he could be a guy you could save some coin on. Still would like to see him come down to about 250 to 300 before you pull the trigger. But that's 3 really good zone coverage players, and we're only halfway through Signature Series. Chandler Jones we're passing on because his strength is pretty low, and his Excel, while very good for what he does, you can do better. You can do better than Chandler Jones out there if you're trying to make a top-tier team, in my opinion. All right, Darren Sproles. So we actually pulled up Darren Sproles earlier here. I'm going to say that he is comparable to this Barry Sanders. And the reason I think he's comparable to this Barry Sanders is because he also braces for all hits, which is good, which Barry only does versus medium. He also doesn't fight for extra yards, so that hurts both of these guys. Speed's the same. Both are small. Barry's a little stronger, but that's not a factor. 3 less agility, 2 less excel. Okay. Carry, same. Route running, 10-point advantage for Darren Sproles. So Darren Sproles as a third down back, that's small. Better route running, up to 88. That's up there with the Charles. That's up there with, the best new third down backs in the game. So I'm a fan of this Darren Sproles. I think he's a good cost, and I think he'll make some plays for you. I would replace Barry with him. I know Barry's going to be a little more agile, but I still think Darren Sproles will do some things for you. Fortunately, it is reporting in the chat that My Mini has seen Sproles fumble twice, so that's something you got to keep an eye on. All right. Thomas Davis. He's a guy that we've loved for a long time with his BCA and his Team of the Week. His BCA is higher rated, but it came out first, I think. And it's got 94 zone coverage. So this guy has 94 zone coverage mixed with 91 strength. His block shed's increased a lot. If you remember his BCA, his block shed was only 77, so he went up 9 block shed, which is huge. He has the play rec. He slowed down a little bit. They didn't really bump up his speed. Yeah, they actually brought his speed down, so I disagree with that choice. But I still love that he has 94 zone, can play the edge in the ground game, and has 98 acceleration. So he's a guy you can throw out there. Can't pay $585K for him, I don't think, but if he comes down a little more and he gives your team +2 play rec, he's a guy you could put in your lineup if you need big zone coverage. E-Rock saying that he would rather have the Shaq Thompson, and I think for the price, I think you're right there. Marcel Darius right here. This guy's a beast on the inside. 99 block shed. That's not something you see every day. Also has 97 strength. Not going to be the best pass rusher, but for $380K, that's a pretty serviceable guy. At D tackle, I think only Vince Wilfork has better acceleration. Even the Aaron Donald, who gets through on a lot of blitzes, only comes in at about 90 excel. So this Darius is a guy I would consider. AJ Green didn't really get many items during the course of the year, and it's good to see him get a signature, but at the same time, still only 92 route running on this green, which means he's basically just now a one-on-one downfield spec catcher. And at 99 spec, 96 catching traffic, 6'4", that puts him on the list. But let's see the cost, because I still think you go Vincent Jackson. Yeah, for $700K, can you get a V-Jax? Can you get a Freeze Finneran? Can you get a Kelvin Benjamin? For $200K, that's like 99, 97 combo. I like the 95 speed, but am I willing to pay extra? Not when there's so many options out there. And that's just kind of a bummer that AJ Green didn't kind of get as many things to kind of keep it going. Eli Manning's a guy that many people have enjoyed throughout this season. 98 throw power, 95 play action, 94 throw short, 97 mid, 92 deep. I love seeing him get 98 throw power. I was never one of the guys who loved the Eli Manning in the first place, whether it's season's veteran or team of the week. I know Zan's a big Eli guy because of the traits and, senses pressure, all that stuff that he feels like he gets accurate passes under pressure. 92 deep. I mean, he's got pretty much everything. I think he's pretty comparable to the Big Ben. But I need a mobile quarterback, so I got to pass on Eli. Even though I believe in Eli, I gotta pass. But I can't really pick a bone because he's got 92 deep as his worst rating. And so you're going to take that almost every time. Let's see the cost. See the cost in Eli. No, can't pay that. Can't pay that. Team of the week Stafford. Until he lets you down. All right, Willie Colon. That's a pretty good left guard for pass block. Check. We've loved Willie Colon. We've loved Willie Colon. So, let's see. Can't pay $500K. Sorry. These items they're too expensive at this time. Most of these guys are really good, and if you get them, that's fine. But I think you sell. I don't think they generally come down in cost though, and they're still this expensive after a signature pack weekend. That seems bad. It seems like they're gonna be expensive. And there's a lot of good. That Shaq Thompson, man. There's a lot of good values out there. This Clay Matthews at middle linebacker. So here's why you can't use Clay Matthews. Because at middle linebacker, unless you have a blitz that blitzes a middle linebacker specifically, you can't drop this guy down to end. So you lose the versatility. He's got great hit power. He's got 97 power move. So he's a pass rusher in a position where you're really going to be rushing the passer. And even if you did want to rush passer, you can't get him down to D-end. And you got to pay $700K on top of that. I just don't see a world where, even though he's got a little bit better zone and he's very good play rack wise, I just don't see him justifying the cost when there's a lot of other good middle linebackers out there. Because at that price, you're paying for a top tier guy. Next up, the Shermanator. Remember, zone coverage theme here. This Sherman's the guy. Because 95 speed, I would say, is about the threshold. Brandon Cooks has 99 speed. And if you have Richard Sherman out there with 95 and Brandon Cooks with 99, and he runs a streak, I don't think he can burn, with only a 4-point differential, I don't think he can be burnt. I don't think he can be burnt unless the other guy maybe has the coach giving speed, and you don't have the coach giving speed. Then it makes it, 6-point gap? I think with a 4-point gap, you're going to be okay in zone coverage. And Sherman's got 100 zone, tremendous spec. Now, the caveat is that this is the most, one of the most expensive corners in the game. I still think I'd rather take the Rod Woodson, and I still think man coverage is more important than zone coverage because you should be playing man because man's very powerful. So, I'd love to see Sherman get to the point where we don't have to worry about his speed anymore. The team of the year, still made us a little bit nervous with his speed. But this team of the week Sherman that was out had this similar spec, and he was just amazing, even though he only had 90 speed. So I think this Sherman's finally at that level where you could set him and forget him. But I'm always going to go with more man, and I really would rather have the Rod Woodson, in my opinion, and probably the Combine Pat Pete. Lastly, and you can't pay $3 million. Sorry, one and a half max. Trent Williams, left tackle. So he's similar to the Munoz. You get one more pass block, but one less strength. So basically a wash, one more run block. just go with whatever's cheaper. Sherman does have the aggressive trait out there, so he will make big plays for you. It's just, are you going to be an all-out zone player? And then just go for it. Play zone DChem, go for it. Otherwise, you can't really play a man scheme and think for $3 million he's the best guy because the Woodson's better. All right, Weston Richburg, he's a New York Giant. Unfortunately, the Mitch Morse, I would rather have the Mitch Morse center from earlier. Rashad Jones, 88 zone coverage, strong safety, can't have it. Sorry, you're only 6'1". You don't have the excel. You don't have the pop in your bat. You can't play on my squad, Rashad Jones. I'm sorry. You also didn't get a ton of items this year, I don't think. Yeah, you got one team of the week, and so you didn't really morph up quite like we would have liked to see. You're very solid across the board. I would love to have you on my team. It's just I can't play you over the Camp Chancellor. I can't play you with everybody else that's available in there. Golden tickets are live, guys. Let me know in the comments who you would make for a golden ticket besides Bo Allen, besides Levine Toilolo. Who would you make for a golden ticket? I'd love to know. We need a right-handed quarterback that matches that Vic, in my opinion. So I would also consider trying to think of like some fun players that I really, really liked or could do something unique to my scheme. That's really the most important thing. Like, you want a guy you can use your control. Maybe that free safety Calvin or strong safety Julio is a guy that people like to make, but let me know who you would make for golden tickets. And then lastly, the rookies. Whew. I got to never not stream this long again, so I don't have to do this many reviews. All right, TJ Yeldon. Agility is low. This is as good as the flashback Chris Johnson basically was at the start of the year. This is an amazing item. I'm just saying, if the agility and the excel were flipped, I would prefer that personally because with the inside zones, I really want better left stick cuts. But he's come out today. He's at 200 stacks. I think you compare him against the Sproles, who gets you the 10 more route running for $200K. I think you really kind of make a decision before you go there. He does have 80 strength and 88 truck, so that's pretty legit. And then the 99 carry is like just kind of the nice little cherry on top of the TJ Yeldon cake. All right, Byron Jones is 6'1" with 94 speed. He also has 99 jump and 97 excel. So he's got 101 jump at this point. He's 95 zone, 92 man. Look, I would normally say no to this Byron Jones, but I am going to say no. I will say, though, Byron Jones did, in man coverage, in the slot, play a hitch, smart routed. That still upsets me to this day. I'm still talking about it. It's about 3 weeks later. I disagree that Byron Jones played that ball on the Hines Ward. So maybe there is something to just Byron Jones's in general, or maybe, I don't know. But I used that route about 3 times on a 99 corner in the first game, and it worked every time. And then one time I threw it. Timing was perfect. Byron Jones happened to make a play on it. So I was angry with Byron Jones. Playing against him, so maybe he's good. Scherf is a no. Tyler Lockett, he had a team of the year. Now he's got an all-rookie. 97 speed. This is not a good item. Maybe a very, very, very good kick returner. Maybe a good drag receiver. But I would pass. And then Lyle Collins, I would also pass. Good impact block, though, if you really like to run tosses and you're still a budget item. Those guys are possible, but I'm thinking you make... people are saying they would make the golden ticket Sherman or the golden ticket Cam. Possibly LaDainian Tomlinson because he doesn't have another item yet. R.D would make a golden ticket right outside linebacker Taylor Mays. All right, guys, those are the reviews of items. If you have specific questions on any item, remember, tweet me at Madden Bible. I know we went over the signature series quick, but if there's something I missed in there, some people were saying give Chandler Jones more love. I'm not giving an 88 strength right end who's a 2-down player love when he only has 98 power move when I can get 98 9-power move from Kerrigan, from Arakpo, from those guys, and they're going to play Ali Hully. They're going to play the run better than this guy. Can't be on the squad unless he had 99 excel, which he does not. So, an 86 play rec? No thanks. But yeah, good stuff right there. Glad to be back in the saddle. Gonna maybe play some games here on twitch.tv/Madden Tips. So we'll check out the lineup. And for the YouTube crowd, we'll see you guys later. But for the Twitch crowd who's in the building, the best quarterback is Vic, I would say. I really think